And then that employee's like, wait a minute, I got a notification on my calendar that it's actually a different time frame. And then your boss goes like, well, you should have checked the calendar. It's like, you said this date, but I'll change the flight anyway. Goes and proceeds to buy his own ticket because he realizes that's a good employee.
Right.
Like, would you ever do that?
I think that employees should get a raise.
He claps.
Welcome back, everybody, to a very sour episode, but like the good kind of sour, of the Careful Boys, where we are back with Maxx Chewning, everybody.
Come on.
So, we've gotten a chance to actually dive really deep because this is a success story that of the likes of we have almost never heard.
Sounds impossible.
And it's also funny because, like, obviously you're familiar with Bart. Like, he's done supplements. Like, I myself have also been involved with CPGs. We've done like a noodle company and stuff.
We sold 30 units.
Yeah.
You sold 30 units?
But tell them how long it took.
Hey, you want to know? I mentioned this before, but speaking of micro influencers, aka JK, our best day of Kinja Bang noodle sales on Amazon was the day we dropped the video talking about it here for the first time.
See, micro influencers are the shit.
Come on, baby.
Our conversions are strong.
Talk about your brand you sell.
Yep.
Wow. It seems Kinja Bang noodles.
And we do that. We never do that.
We're
here.
anti-influencers.
Yeah, no one.
We're not
No one
micro.
knows.
We think it's bad habit to talk about.
I almost
product.
didn't even wear our own t-shirt today. I looked at my luggage. I had the Founding Fondlers. You know, the one with Bill Cosby, whatever.
That's his go-to.
And I was like, should I wear that one or this one? I was like, I never wear our own shirts, so I would put this one on.
We should wear our own shirts.
We should totally promote our own shirts, which we have right now.
You can get it right here. You can get it. You can get some.
Can we give Max this
black
shirt real
shirt,
quick?
yeah.
Come on. Hey, Brian, can you do the thing where
What size are you? Medium?
We don't even
large?
have any of the ones we're. I think those are.
Those are all not for sale anymore.
Oh, they're all retired.
We don't even have our
those
like
are for
supply
sale.
of.
give them something that we're not selling? Give them that's even.
Just go to your local Target and ask them for one of these. They'll have
Get
it.
a
I'm
blank
sure they have
tee
it. Yeah.
and pretend you have the logo on
1,300
it.
Targets nationwide.
1,300.
You see why we're fascinated in your story that you probably shared many times?
It's like, how do you do it all?
yeah, we're like, oh my god. So you just talk about what you want to sell?
You wear your own shirts.
You like your product? That's
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest success you have is not only you talk about your product, but like on my YouTube, I also like documented like building the brand. So it's like when we get into HEB, I'm loading up the back of my Jeep in the videos and like driving it to the store, and then I'm like setting the camera up like I'm like stocking the shelves, and like so I'm like showing people that I'm like doing the business itself, not just like here's a candy, you should go buy it. Here's a candy, you should go buy it. It's like, all right, guys, we're thinking about going to this warehouse. This is way more space we need. I'm stressed out. Like, the cost is going to be, like, crazy. We don't need all this. Like, here's why I'm, like, I think it's a good idea. Here's why I'm, like, weighing the pros and cons of it. So I was like, I brought my audience in.
It's very transparent.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean,
Did you have a camera guy like following you around, or did you just vlog it and everything?
I've gone through, like, small spurts of time where I've had someone, like, assist me with, like, videography. I'd say of the, like, I don't even know how many videos I made, like 1,300 vlogs, I'd say maybe 25 of those have been like not filmed and edited by myself. With my type of content, I really like making videos, and I'm also like with my humor and like the way that I shoot, and like I like to get creative with my vlogs. Whenever I have a videographer, I end up just like okay, when I pull up the car, like you should get a shot of like me getting out over there, and then like go over here, and I'll get out and I'll say this line, and then let's get a shot. I'd end up directing the whole damn thing. So I just essentially needed like a moving tripod, but I like the authenticity of like holding it myself. So yeah, to this day, like I film and edit all my videos myself. So I was like, when I went into stores, I'm like bringing the camera and flying the drone of like my car like coming in the parking lot and stuff. So no, I really enjoy making videos.
That's awesome.
I think I'm the exact opposite, actually. Like when I pull out a camera, I feel like my thought is forced. And then so I feel like I'm a very robotic, stale version, which is why like I have like Justin and Adim's, because I think when I'm captured in my wild element, I feel like you have like the best essence of who I am.
Same.
Yeah. Or else I'm going like this. Or else I'm pulling up the camera and going, and then I'm like, why did I even do that?
But that's you, though. That's you.
You're gonna bully yourself, yeah.
But if someone else is capturing me, doing me,
One of the biggest regrets is I didn't film enough of the building of my business and the thought process. But like, I'm like you, where I wish I had someone just recording it, because then I'm in creator mode and I can't actually work on the business. because my mind and focus is just like on content creation.
Well, that's
so
like-
that was really hard to, because I did vlog a lot, and then like as soon as I started opening up a brick and mortar, I couldn't do both.
Can't blame yourself
wanting
crying.
to. Yeah, like,
Dude, that would have been so great.
That would have been the most viral content.
The ice machine broke again. You're just crying.
they won't give me my building permit. Yeah, and then
Change
Bro,
the ISO,
that's
the
what people want to
aperture.
see, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's like when we got the new warehouse. I'm like talking to the people about like, we can't open in this because I need this damn like mop sink that needs to be in the warehouse, and this is gonna cost like $10,000, and it's gonna take 2 months to put in, and then it's like I'm paying rent and I'm doing all these things, and like they want to see this like this dynamic, and then they can see the whole journey of us going from like a room smaller than this, starting the business, to like a 1,000 square feet warehouse, to like what do we go to next? Like a 15,000, and then now we're in like 60,000, and it's like, so they see the process going in. So
yeah, it's sick how you can weave it in and you can switch different hats, like, because I think that's a really cool talent that I find, like, because I've tried it and I'm like, okay, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs where they can market but they can't operate, and it sounds like you can market and operate simultaneously.
I don't know if I was a candy entrepreneur that was moonlighting being a YouTuber, or like a YouTuber that was moonlighting like running a business, because I would even during the entire process of the business, I never missed my like upload per every week, or I had 2 per week at that time. It was just like they just went hand in hand, and like even just running the business, at first you're just like, okay, I have this idea, I'm gonna launch it, and then I just need a couple people to help me pack some orders, right? But then it turns in like, oh, I need someone to help me with customer service because I gotta go film these videos. And then it's like, okay, I need someone to help me with the distribution with these like retailers. So it's like you start delegating, but then the hardest part about scaling a business is actually like managing people. And,
Exactly, yeah.
And then eventually you need managers to manage those people, and you think you're gonna like delegate something and take it off your plate, but now you need to spend time like guiding them and managing them to like how you would want the business to be ran, and then they have their own, and not every employee is gonna, with me, I'm like, I'm gonna get the job done, don't bother me, I don't need praise. If I do a good job, I'm just gonna keep going. Like, okay, we had a huge success, that's great, let me keep going. But like a lot of people don't work like that, so you need to find what motivates them, whether it be like literal words of affirmation of like, hey, like thank you so much for doing that, where like I don't need that praise, so I just assume everyone's like the same, but like not everyone's like you, so you have to like learn everyone's different personalities and dynamics, and how you can communicate with someone is different than how you can communicate with someone else, where you can maybe be a little more direct with one, but you have to soften like the thing you're talking about with someone else.
That's when I found out I'm not meant to be a leader.
Well, bro, like that's what like
Oh, this person's love language is physical touch. Hey, Nick, you did a good job. And then this person is
My
like
second is
quality
words of
time.
affirmation.
And this person is, and you have to like know and identify.
Bart's like, you're all why can't you just do the work?
I don't want to have to talk to you today.
bro, that's like scaling a business, and but I didn't plan for sour. It's kind of like you hope it gets that big, but like you don't plan when you're starting it that you're gonna be like, I'm eventually gonna have a team, a bunch of people that are gonna rely on me for their livelihood. That like, but and then it's kind of goofy with content creation, because if I'm like, hey, I'm actually not gonna be in today, and I'm like, they see on my Instagram story I'm doing some goofy random shit, but they're working on the business, but I'm like, but no, I gotta film me like scrubbing my pool as content because it's like goofy for my vlogs, but they're like,
Look at the boss just having fun, doing nothing, while we're out here slaving away.
yeah, so it's like, so it's
Did you run into any of those complications or hardships by like bringing people on, and then like as everything scaled up, maybe there was a form of either entitlement or anything like that?
No, everyone in my, what's another great thing is that we've had like the lowest turnover rate. I think we've had maybe like less than like 4 people like leave the company, and all of them are because they like were going to college or something. But everyone that's like, all the people that have worked for us, like 90% have been there for like years. So we have a super low turnover rate, because it's also like, I've worked in corporate, so I know what like a good work environment is. I know it's like really lame and shitty in a company of like I didn't want to be that. So I want to be a cool place to work, where it's like if you gotta go to work and you gotta have a job, like I want this to be like the coolest place you could do it. But the only problem as you like grow and grow and grow is like as your business gets bigger, you start like having to have like structure, right? So for like for a bit, it was kind of like, hey guys, like I don't really care when you come in, just like kind of get the job done. But then it started being like, you know, so, hey, this person, I need you to kind of come in a little earlier, but then everyone else is like, they can kind of come in whenever, right? But then you kind of start making structure, and you start like backtracking of like, hey, everyone can come in at like 10 and leave at 4. It's like, hey guys, actually we need to, let's come in at 9, like, and then leave at like, and then like you start having to have like a little bit of structure, but it's just like, that's what's gonna happen as a business scales, is like you have to have that like structure. But I try just to make it like the coolest place. Like, let's have a cool work environment, and I'm gonna be like the ideally the coolest boss, but like if you screw up, like you're gonna like, there needs to be like, you need to understand that you screwed up and why. But as a leader, like I think it's important that like a lot of like errors that are made on your team is because that you didn't like, it really falls onto you at the end of the day of like, you didn't maybe lead them in the way that they should have like handled this direction. So it's always like, it's learning experiences, but it's only problems if people start like repeating errors where like, I mean, there's been tons of stuff that have been goofed by employees that like cost me thousands of dollars, right? Because of errors, but I'm kind of like, okay, like why did this happen? Like, let's figure it out. But now like, let's not make this happen again. It's only when like errors start repeating, and then it's kind of like, why are you doing the same kind of thing?
Let's say hypothetically, right? You set a schedule for your employees to come in, right? And then it's out there. And then one of your employees like, hey boss, double check in. What was the schedule for this weekend, right? And then the boss is like, oh, it's this, and it's the wrong schedule. So then your employee like buys some like plane tickets around that schedule, hypothetically, right? And then,
Wow, what a scenario.
yeah, hypothetically. And then that employee's like, wait a minute, I got a notification on my calendar that it's actually a different time frame. And then your boss goes like, well, you should have checked the calendar. And then your employee actually highlights the message in iMessage group. It's like, you said this date, but I'll change the flight anyway. Goes and proceeds to buy his own ticket because he realizes that's a good employee.
Right.
When the boss is like, you fucked up. Yeah. Like, would you ever do that in your culture?
I think that employees should get a raise.
He claps. What are you clapping?
I think the employee should get a bonus, a raise, maybe even equity in the company.
Whoa!
Maybe free flights. Free flights, dude. How about that?
That's pretty cool. And that employee still wouldn't expect that because the company is still dying. But I'm just glad that you shared that perspective, that hypothetical.
We're pivoting.
How would you feel about that, Bart?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, it's just a hypothetical.
Thanks for your professional opinion.
So, Hershey, that's incredible. You were just talking about how you were basically just low-key stealing shelf space at Target from them. So they were probably, not just them specifically, but certain items, certain SKUs are
less
dropped.
from them because they're not really in the same category as much like as us.
More like chocolate and sugar that are a little bit different?
Yeah.
Duh. But just the idea that like you're on the rise as this completely independent, there's no investor backing, you're doing this thing solo dolo. This new guy who's coming in hot, taking SKUs off of the sugar department line and other items getting dropped. And then everybody's getting this same data pool saying like, hey, this is like the top company that's kind of knocking everything off. Like, how does that go into did Hershey start knocking on your door? Like, where did that idea of getting bought out come from? Was that an intention of yours? Like, what's that story like?
Yeah, so when I started the company and started scaling, like the number one question I've gotten asked like at scale from when I started the business is like, would you sell the company? Would you sell the company? And I like never even thought of that because it was just like, oh, I don't know, I just like this candy product, and now I gotta lead a team and get a bigger warehouse and I'm scaling it, and people kept asking like, would you sell it? Would you sell it? Would you sell it? And I was like, guys, I'm a candy fanatic that is like almost having his like dream of like impacting the space, changing the candy world that I've been a part of, and now I'm the guy that is like making an impact in this. So it was like I didn't even have like time to think about it because we're scaling. I don't have any investors. I'm not into debt with the company. I own 100% of the company, and we're profitable. Like we've been profitable since day one. We became more profitable as the years went on, and we were able to scale. But I was like, I don't really care about selling because we're making a bunch of money. Like, you know, and I mean, not like ridiculous, but we're profitable. We're able to like, and all the money that I'm doing, I'm just putting in just accounts of just like, let's just put in like interest savings accounts that are just like reserving. I'm not spending that money because I'm making money from social media. So I didn't need the cash from it. So I'm like, the company's making money. I don't really care about selling because like, and we're only getting started on our like, of like the runway of what we can sell into. You know, we were in like 30,000 stores, a little bit more before we sold, but there's about a little under 300,000 stores that you could get into that would sell a product like this in America alone.
Well, you're only doing 10% of America.
Yeah, so I'm like,
No big.
The runway is, and if we can crush it in Target, there's no world or reason why all these other grocery chains shouldn't have us in their stores. Like, it's just a matter of time before we get in there, because why wouldn't we? Like, why wouldn't we get in there if we're dominating in the biggest retailers? Every retailer should have us in there. I just didn't have time to think about that, and so it was like never like a thought in my mind. And then I started getting hit up a little bit as we scaled by like venture capital firms, which were kind of just like almost like generic ones of like, hey, would you ever like to take money off the table and do all this stuff? But I've done like Q&As on my YouTube videos where I would mention, I was like, if I was to ever sell the company, I would only want to sell it to another candy company, because my goal with Sour Strips was a couple things. Was to like prove that I could do it, like prove that I could make an impact in this. Like, I wanted to impact the category. Like, I'm a candy fiend, like me of all people. Like, if I could impact this space that I love so much, I think that's super cool. So I wanted to prove that like it was possible and that I could do it. The second was to like make Sour Strips this like, I wanted it to be a brand that's around forever, that my kids are like eating Sour Strips. Like, I want it to be this legacy brand. And I was like, okay, we're on this kind of path. And then the third is like, I want to ideally change mine and, people that have helped me get there, like their lives of like, if I win, the business wins, then everyone's going to win who like believed in the brand. So I wanted to, financially win from the company as well. And so we started achieving all these things, but with a venture capital firm, I was like, they could just sell it, they could do something with it. But I was like, if a candy company buys us, it's because like they want to bring it into their portfolio to they can like help me get to that bigger vision of it being in every store that's every candy sold in. So that was always like, I would only be interested if one of these big brands would hit me up. And
a big company is not going to buy you out if they can't like at least 3x the thing themselves.
Oh yeah. And there is a chance that a bigger company, like, it's not usually the case, but like there are like situations where like a bigger company that has a bunch of things in the same category you're in, where you're kind of like stealing sales from them, even if it's on a small level of comparison, but like they could buy it and to just shelf it, because them buying it and like stopping it will like, then it doesn't cannibalize them anymore.
It just eats the competition.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I was like, I don't really think that's the case of like what companies would want to do. So I was like, I want someone who sees the vision that I have and wants to scale it like to the moon. And Hershey is such an interesting buyer, because there's 4, 5, 6 maybe other big people in the space that would be companies that maybe would be interested in like buying it. But with Hershey, it's so interesting because most of what they do is chocolate, and they do it like the best, right? Like they're like the chocolate king. But they have a couple other brands in their portfolio, Twizzlers and Jolly Ranchers, that are somewhat in the gummy space, right? They have some like sour stuff, but they don't really have like a sour candy kind of like player, right? Because they're mainly kind of like sweet and salty. They have a lot of, they have protein bars, they have popcorn, they have chocolates, but they don't have a real big like, their sour candy brand. And so when they reached out to us, I was kind of like, wow, this is actually a great opportunity, because that means that they like want to get into this space and are seeing the vision with Sour Strips. And if a company that like wants to get in that, like they're really going to pour gasoline on this to compete with these other big corporations that are dominating the sour gummy space. Like you probably know a bunch of them. And we're like, but Hershey doesn't have a player in this, that in this specific little realm.
How did they reach out? Like a DM or an email or?
Yeah, an email.
They sent a goon. I work for Hershey's.
So,
bring me this Max guy.
So I'd actually had some communication with them like over the years. So like I'd say like once a year the first year I got an email from them a couple years ago. I was like, oh shit, like Hershey's emailing me. What does this mean?
It's from like someone at Hershey.com?
Yep.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
You didn't delete it like, shut up, Kumal. Hello, I am Mr. Hershey.
I got like a phone call. I was like hopping on the phone with them, and I was like, I don't know what this means, but they were just asking learning about the brand, and the brand was a lot smaller then. Wow. And I'm glad I didn't go down the rabbit hole then, because the brand continued to become more successful. But they were just like kind of learning the story, but it didn't really go anywhere. It wasn't like, if you hit this benchmark, we might be interested in acquiring you. It was just like casual conversations, just like chatting with us. And then it happened like maybe once a year. And
what do you think a play for Hershey is there? Is it like
I don't know.
Like
I guess in hindsight, it was probably to learn just a little bit about the business, about me, about like my vision with it, because I don't know this for certain, but I'm assuming that like when a brand buys another brand, it's yes, they see the sales, they see it, but they also want to see like what is the person that's running it, like what is their vision?
Oh, just like
for
due diligence?
Yeah, a little bit.
What was the person's position at Hershey?
The same the same person that contacted me back then is the same person that organized the deal for this one.
Oh, so it was like an acquisitions department?
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
I think they could have been scouting you from the day one.
the jump.
Yeah, and at first I was like, and the problem when I start talking about the business is, and it's back, and I could go into stories of like me just oversharing early on and giving too much information, and then that ends up biting me in the ass, and someone like comes out with a competitive product because I basically gave my strategy away, and I was like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, right?
She's like, oh, so what's like your ingredient formula?
Yeah. No, so I was like, maybe they want to just like learn about me, learn like, oh, this guy's really, you know, he's like a believer in the brand. I don't know, actually. So, but they were just like kind of talking to me, just like, you know, hey, we see what you're doing, like, you know, we applaud what you're doing, and you know, let's stay in touch. I was like, okay, but I didn't let that like deviate me from like continuing to grow the brand. So that happened like twice over like 2 years, and then in September, I got a call from the guy. And was like, hey, you know, and I thought it was just all right, another one of these like yearly kind of check-ins. So it was like,
I want to
hey,
talk today.
I'm yeah.
I'm doing fine, thank you. Click. Fuck, dude.
No, when someone like Hershey calls you, you stop what you're doing.
Hey, what's up?
What's your BMI?
So I got a call in September. It was like, you know, hey, you know, we'd love to chat, but I'd love to like chat in person. Like, you know, you're in Houston, like we can come out and like just wanted to see how the brand's doing, stuff like that. And I was like, well, actually, I'm traveling next week, so you can't come here. I'm actually going to be in New York. And they're like, oh, even better. You know, we're in Pennsylvania, so we'll just like I can come meet you and we'll get some lunch. I was like, okay. So I met with them so I was in New York for like my birthday week because my wife was walking in New York Fashion Week, so I was like already there.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
She's got her own movie.
Yeah, for real.
My wife was Miss Texas 2020, so she's big in like the pageant model world. So she walked in New York Fashion Week for Sherry Hill. So we were there.
Heck yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, supporting her, which was big claps for her. And so we were there for that and a Sour Strips event with Gymshark later that week. So I just happened to be in the area, got lunch, and it was same kind of like conversations that I've had before, just like really friendly, casual, like seeing how the brand's doing.
I already told you my story 3 times already.
But each year it gets a little better.
Like, oh.
What's the formula?
So then it was kind of like, all right, like that's really,
Show us the company.
it was like that's really cool what you're doing, and then it's like, hey, we'll reach out to you like on Friday. I'm gonna like send you some emails, and then on Friday I start getting emails, but it's like from a whole bunch of people at Hershey's. That's kind of just like. It essentially started the due diligence process.
NDA.
That's exactly what it was. So it was just like about due diligence process, and that is like essentially where they're just deep, like they see the surface level, what everyone sees about the business. They can see the sales from, from these like reports kind of side of things. But this is like their opportunity to like, okay, let me like really deep dive in the business, break the business apart, see if what you're saying is accurate. Like, I was very open with what we were doing in revenue on YouTube and stuff, but they're like, hey, like, what are you actually doing? Is this accurate? And luckily our business was pretty clean and lean because it's one owner, no debt, like, small team, but it was just really unorganized because we're doing everything of like, how we know how to do stuff on Google Sheets, like no organization of anything.
Our head of operations used to boxer stuff. Like,
yeah. Then it was kind of like, all right, like, can you loop us in with the person that would handle this? I'm like, oh, that's me. And they're like, okay, well, how about for this thing, like, loop us with this department? Like, no, that's me too. And so
they call, your phone rings, hello?
Yeah. So basically, we started the due diligence process in September, and the entire deal closed in 2 months, which is
like September last year.
Yeah.
So shit.
So
2 months?
So September, and it closed like November. I really should know this date. I think it's November 8th is when it closed. It closed right after the presidential announcement. So yeah, we closed in like 2 months, and it was, like right when it started, I didn't know if it was, because it wasn't like, hey, we would like to buy your company, but it was like, I think with all these questions, like it seems like they're going down the route of like, why would they be asking all these questions if they're not? But
It's like dating.
Yeah. But it's like, what do you want?
Do you want to date me or buy my company?
So it was never this like black and white, like day one of like, we're interested in buying it. Here's the questions. You know, here's...
How long do you have left on your lease? What the fuck?
Yeah, no, it literally was these kind of questions. And
Do you like our candy?
yeah.
How during that time
You think we're cool?
did you? Well, I guess first is if you can disclose it. What was the offer? And then two, did you bring a broker in, or were you like, let's see what Reese's has to say about this?
We're gonna pause it right there and get into the juiciest part of this acquisition when we come back.
What a cliffhanger.
Follow us on Instagram
And LinkedIn.
Do you guys have a LinkedIn profile?
I got LinkedIn, yeah.
Oh shit!